Y'all, this might be the best FAFO backfire that I've ever seen. Trump just pulled an Uno reverse card, yoinked the tablecloth right out from under the Democrats, pulled the rug out from under them as well. They're on their butts, wondering where the tablecloth went, and they have no cards left in Uno. This is glorious, and honestly, maybe one of the best punchbacks that I've ever seen from the Trumpster, and he's got quite a few. Everything I'm going to show you is linked in the description box below. Of course, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn this notification bell on, and send this out, guys, because I told you this was going to happen rather quickly, and now Chuck Schumer's blink last night has translated to a very bad punchback. Let's get into this. Of course, you can follow me on X at Braden LOA. Let's just dive right in. I'm not going to bury the lead on y'all. Trump literally just put the Democrats in the position of having to defend the healthcare corporations and insurance companies. You know, those things that the left absolutely despises. It's against one of the core core tenets of Democrat religion. Yeah, he's putting them in a position where they're going to have to actually defend the corporations getting the money rather than the American people. Y'all, this is glorious. I told you the clapback was going to come back pretty hard after Chuck's little compromise last night. Here it is. Breaking in a huge move, President Trump calls on Senate Republicans to address the Obamacare subsidies by sending the hundreds of billions of dollars to the people, not insurance companies. Trump is now going to make healthcare for the people versus Democrats' big insurance, and it's a genius move, says Eric Dodry. In other words, take from the big, bad insurance companies, give it to the people, and terminate, per dollar spent, the worst healthcare anywhere in the world, Obamacare. Unrelated, we must still terminate the filibuster. He knows what he's doing, says Eric. Okay, let me translate out this for you real quick. Trump just called the Democrats bluff and said, oh, you want the healthcare subsidies to go from the government to the healthcare corporations, so you want to enrich the healthcare corporations. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't, instead of you guys enriching the healthcare corporations, who are your donors and your friends and your sponsors, why don't we just give the money directly from our coffers to the American people and let them choose their own plan? Oh my God. Here's why this is a big freaking deal. Because Democrats can't do that. They have to have the government be the one that provides and gives you the solution. It's the one that has to have the insurance mandate. It's the one that has to have the subsidies. Because when you have subsidies, people are reliant on you. If you just give money to people to make their own decisions, oh my God, they might make their own decisions. Aghast, egads. This can't be the way. Yes, it is the way. I don't love subsidizing people's stuff. I don't like any of that. But if you're going to go down the road of Obamacare staying around, the ACA subsidies or the Affordable Care Act subsidies still being there, it's a pretty smart-ass move to go, hey, instead of giving it from the government to these healthcare organizations, let's give it to the people so they can choose the best thing for themselves. Oh my God. All right, let me jump right over. I'm going to jump out of order real quick, but this is remarkable because he's got liberals, leftist talking heads, the Krasensteins, Chris Murphy, all the Democrats have unified in, we can't do this, holy God. Here's the reasons why. Listen to this. 1, redirecting the money directly to individuals would violate existing law and collapse the entire exchange system overnight. He's talking about writing a law. In fact, Rick Scott from Florida already said, I'll write it. 2, giving people cash instead would destroy the risk pool, driving premiums sky high for anyone with pre-existing conditions. How? You're making a full open market. It's subsidized by the government to the healthcare industry, or it's subsidized by the government to the individual to make their own decision. Where's the bad thing? This is why this is actually a pretty intelligent move, because the left has to say this. 3, by calling insurers money-sucking but proposing to eliminate regulation, he'd actually increase their profits, since deregulated markets let them cherry-pick healthy customers and deny coverage to the rest. What are you on? 4, without predictable federal payments, they say it out loud. Insurers would exit state markets immediately. Such uncertainty triggers premium spikes and loss of coverage, similar to what happened during Trump's 2017 threats to end cost-sharing payments. You mean free market will take effect? That's weird, because free market is going to take effect either way. 5, this is where it gets real fun. The cost of individual insurance plans varies wildly by age and health status. Most Americans couldn't buy adequate coverage with a flat check. It would also create administrative chaos, fraud potential, and inequities. Some people would spend the funds on non-healthcare needs, leaving the uninsured later. Who gives a crap? If the government's giving you a handout of money to buy for insurance, and you can use that money to decide whatever insurance you want fits your lifestyle, fits your desires, that's called personal choice. And you decide to go blow it at a casino, guess what? That's also called personal choice. That's called stupid. If you make a stupid decision, you're going to get stupid prizes. It's not up to the government to make sure that everyone is guaranteed to be insured. If they give them several thousands of dollars to make this decision and insure them, and they choose to use it elsewhere, whose fault is that? This is why it's such a genius plan. Because the Democrats have to come out and say, no, people are so stupid. If they spend their money unwisely, then they're uninsured, and that would be terrible. And then this last one. 6, letting people buy their own coverage would reopen the door to junk plans, cheap but useless insurance that vanishes when you actually get sick. So people are too stupid to pick their own plans. You see how this works? It's completely insulting. What if people spend the money and make the decision unwisely? Then they're uninsured. All right. Okay. And number 6, well, with the buy their own plan, there'll be junk plans available. They might choose the junk plans. Because they're choosing the junk plans. You see how this freedom of choice thing works? This is what it's about. The Democrats don't want the freedom of choice point. The Democrats want the absolute obligation of people to be in the marketplaces so they can do things like this with the shutdown. It's about leverage. Let's continue, and then I'll get to the fun part. Chris Murphy. Oh, this Chris Murphy. Love him. This is unsurprisingly nonsensical. Yeah, because it takes away your power. Is he suggesting eliminating health insurance and giving people a few $1,000s instead? And then when they get a cancer diagnosis, they just go bankrupt? He's so unserious. That's why we are shut down and Americans know it. No, we're shut down because you guys didn't vote for anything. It's really quite simple. But no, they're going to get their own insurance plan. They don't get canceled when they have cancer. That's not how this works. Everyone knows that, but good fear-mongering, Chrissy. Now let's go to the fun part, like I told you. Watching the Democrats line up to defend insurance companies to get their money when the far left and the Democrats in general loathe the insurance companies and loathe the healthcare companies because they're making profits over people and they're evil and it's a big scam and they don't care if people die. They just want to make money. Well, now the Democrats, per Trump's little announcement and idea here, are fully arguing against giving people money to make their own decisions. And they're arguing to give it to the insurance companies. That's a pretty uncomfortable position if you're on the team D. All right, let's keep on going. Because they are in a corner. Rick Scott, senator from Florida, totally agree at POTUS. I'm writing the bill now. We must stop taxpayer money from going to insurance companies and instead give it directly to Americans in HSA-style accounts, health savings accounts, and let them buy the health care they want. This will increase competition and drive down costs. That's exactly how free markets work. When you get Obamacare out of the way, all of a sudden free markets are allowed to operate. This is like an anathema to the Dems. Keep going, Dems. Keep shutting down because stuff like this is going to keep on coming up. Lindsey Graham. Listen. If you got Lindsey Graham, you know you're doing something right. POTUS recommendation that we stop sending tens of billions of dollars under Obamacare to money-sucking insurance companies and instead send that money directly to the people so they can buy better health care is simply brilliant. It's a free market solution. I still don't like the subsidies and I don't like the tax dole. I don't like any of those things. But genuinely, if you're going to do it free market style. President Obama promised that families' health care costs would go down by $2,500. Instead, premiums have increased over 100%. The big winner of Obamacare since 2010 are large health insurance companies. Their stocks have risen in some cases over 1,000% because they get most of the money from these subsidies. I'm totally with you, President Trump. Okay. Y'all realize what's happening right now? Last night, I told you Schumer blinked, and the beginning of the negotiation point is whoever loses talks first. He spoke first. He said we want a year-long extension of the Affordable Care Act, or the Obamacare. Then Trump fires back the next day and says, tell you what, we're going to give all the money away from the healthcare insurance companies, give it to the people, and make you guys argue to give it to the healthcare instead of them. Y'all, I'm telling you, this is a thing, and it's kind of fun to watch. I'll be honest. This is a pretty smart move. But anyway, that's what I've got for you guys. Let me know what you think. Send this one out. I'll see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.